Buongiorno a tutti, sono molto lieto di partecipare a questo evento organizzato dalla Fondazione Paolo del Bianco e voglio salutare prima di tutto il mio amico da tanti anni, il Presidente Paolo del Bianco, e anche tutti amici della Fondazione che ha adesso un nuovo Presidente, la persona di Carlotta del Bianco. Anche lei, un'amica da tanti anni, sono molto privilegiato di essere con voi in questa prima edizione del Festival internazionale delle espressioni culturali del mondo a Firenze, The World in Florence. Dear President, dear Secretary General, Excellencies, specialists in cultural tourism, professors, students, visitors, I want to say a few words because I cannot be with you in persona in questo bellissimo evento. I want to start by quoting a very good friend of mine, professor at Sorbonne University, Professor Gravary Barbas, who wrote, and I quote, "The halt to international tourism during the pandemic has changed practices. Local tourism has been privileged. Will the lifting of the restrictions result in frequentation of the most popular destination at pre-crisis level? Only a determined attitude of local and national governments and the establishment of a new tourism governance will make it possible to revisit the sector." Long before the COVID-19, which severely affected the tourism sector, the Copenhagen Tourist Office campaigned by proclaiming the end of tourism before adding, "as we know it," the end of tourism as we know it. Before 2020, local actors were aware of the need for a change of course. During 2020, the COVID pandemic unexpectedly upset the trend of increasing global tourism flow that nothing seemed to be able to stop. The territories exploited by tourism found themselves empty of their visitors. The interlude of the summer 20 and 21 and the brief opening of tourism has not significantly changed the situation. The most visited tourism, if we give an example, tourist destination such as Paris, have lost almost 85% of their flows. Indeed, several managers of tourist destinations have pleaded for the advent of a new paradigm. They undoubtedly express the desire to promote a new tourism, respectful of the natural environment and heritage, and able to create the conditions for meeting the local populations. This is the new paradigm that the Paolo Foundation is proposing. First, the festival that is starting today wants to represent for the young generation, local administration and cultural organizations, an opportunity to know and interpret the new technology with the typical cultural expressions of their territories. Second, it is therefore a collective effort by local communities to protect cultural heritage, whether tangible or intangible, and to use it to promote their most sustainable national and international visitors, inclusive of residents and visitors, and profitable, the tourist who turn into a temporary resident. In this way, through direct action of local communities, cultural heritage combines with tourism to truly contribute to intercultural dialogue and human progress. The festival is only the final part of an action with from last March. Also, in times of pandemic, and we all remember the last General Assembly of the Bianco Foundation, involved so many universities and so many local administrations who participated in the exhibition of the Florence in the World Watch as the example of the interpretation of Florence made by the Foundation and its movement, Life Beyond Tourism. The formation of a working group to learn LBT, Life Beyond Tourism, and create an info point LBT, and produce a cultural narrative of their territory to show Florence during the festival. This program is expected to repeat for the 5 annual editions and will end in 2025, with the objective of representing the typical cultural expressions of more than 100 territories in the world. Some 200 draft recommendations for various target groups, national and local government, UN organizations, agencies, World Heritage Committee, UNESCO, Advisory Body of UNESCO, ICOMOS, ICROM, IUCN, but also NGOs, local inhabitants associations, university and research institute, tourism industry, have been gathered from all around the world through the UNESCO UniTwin network of culture, tourism, and development, which called for policy recommendations on how tourism and heritage conservation can contribute to the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. I think that we are now in front of this new paradigm. I repeat, this is the new paradigm presented by the Bianco Foundation. This trend, this new vision, is particularly accentuated because we have lived with the new COVID epidemic, which revealed the proximity of behaviors, expectations between temporary inhabitants, tourists, and permanent inhabitants. The former increasingly want to live like the locals during their stay, to go on the other side of the mirror, as we say, in order to get to know the non-ordinary city, the city of every day. They made up the bulk of flows, and in 2020 ensured the survival of certain destinations. The latter seeks to rediscover their own territory, deserted by tourists, which they have thus reclaimed. Several testimonies from residents of tourist resorts evoke the re-enchantment of their relationship with their city. This is the example of what the Paolo Foundation, the Bianco Foundation is doing and is promoting with this first edition of Florence in the World in Florence. I want to quote the fact that on February 8, 2021, that means this year, the Ivanovo State University opened the exhibition, Florence in the World in Florence. This exhibition, Florence in the World in Florence, with photo by Corina del Bianco, is the first step to participate in a worldwide project that will see a group of students committed to learning the philosophy and practice of the Bianco Foundation, and to apply it in its own territory by interpreting, presenting, enhancing the cultural expression of the Ivanovo region. A cultural storytelling that will be presented later in Florence as part of this international festival, cultural festival, will be a model for many other sites all around the world. I want to express my best wishes for this new and very interesting innovation by the Foundation del Bianco, where all members of the family are committed, fully committed, in the international festival of the cultural expression from the world, an ideal world intersection of cultural identities, nurturing the desire of knowledge, respect, and dialogue, and prompting the post-pandemic travel for cultural values. Thank you for your attention.